What's up guys, it's your boy Vance, aka Gain City, and I'm back with another video. And today, we're going to be talking about your why. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever done this in your own lives, but either look in the mirror or, just think to yourself, what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? You can't give me no generic why. You cannot, like if you're a rapper, you can't say, oh, I want to make it out the hood. That's everybody want to do that. Your why has to be bigger than that. Because as soon as you make it out the hood, then what? It has to be something that is, going to make you work for a very long time, if not forever. And that's the point, Because like I said, I already told y'all my why in previous, my other videos. Like my why is to continue helping y'all. My why is I want to help everybody on the planet. Obviously, I know that's going to be probably impossible, but I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it until I die. That's my, why, doing it for y'all. I want to see everybody win, because that's what I like. I like seeing people do what they thought was impossible and then make it possible. And they're like, oh, snap, results. That's what I love seeing. Like I said, I love seeing people win. I love seeing people, teach others, something that they thought that they couldn't do, but did it. And then now they're leading by an example. Like I said, they're being a leader. I love seeing all that stuff, I'm very selfless. I'm very humble. I like, I love helping people. I love helping people who want to be helped, and even people that maybe not want to help, like get helped, I still throw it out there, it's up to you if you're going to take that or not. But just know I'm going to be here. If you need help, I'm going to be here. But like I said, your why has to be that big. It has to be pretty big. It could be as simple as doing it for my family. That's a big why. That's a why that's what lasts a very long time, You got some ones that's like, I'm doing it for my loved one. Like keep going. And it's like one of them things where even when you reach that goal, keep going. That's when never stay satisfied mentality goes in, And it's not like so like say if your goal, when you first start, obviously it's going to be a lot. Your work ethic has to be a lot. Your workload is going to probably be a lot. And then say you're at the top, the whole keep going, like I said, it can switch a little. It could be like maybe half, but then now you can be teaching people. Either way, just be productive. That's the main thing. Be productive. Obviously, yes, take in your rewards, take in, whatever, but you keep going. You don't want to be just straight satisfied and stagnant. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to, like I said, lead by an example. Like I said, be a mentor, teach people, but like I said, you're still going, you're still moving. That's the main thing. But yeah, man, a lot of y'all probably don't even have a why, or y'all, it might make y'all think for a minute. And I want y'all to write it down. Write it down, and y'all can put it on like, your bed. You can put it on your door. Put it somewhere that you will look at every single day. And it's just a reminder. Like I said, keep that reminder, forever. Like I said, even when you do reach that goal, because it's still gonna mean a lot, And that why, like I said, has to be bigger than you. Like I always tell people, because like me, I'm military. And yes, obviously the military is, is something that's bigger than all of us, it's big. But when it comes to what I'm doing here, it's bigger than my career in the military. I can't say it's bigger than the Army, obviously, that's bullcrap. But this is bigger than my career in the military, because the military, I'm kind of capped in a way, kind of capped in a way. But when I'm doing this, I'm not. And that's one of the things that I like. I love helping people, because even on that side, I'm helping a lot of people and all of this stuff, which is great. A lot of people are learning a lot from me. Even older, older or younger, it does not matter. They're learning a lot from me because I don't do what average people do for one. So the stuff that I do is already extraordinary. It's already grabbed people's attentions, which is cool. But at the end of the day, that's not what I do it for. I do it to keep, I do it to help people. And then, like I said, when it comes to like this fitness and working out and stuff, I do that for myself. A lot of people don't realize when I'm like posting all these videos and of me like flexing or whatever, it's not for y'all at all. It's for me. I keep track of my size and stuff in that month, that year, whatever. That's why I do it. And then I guess you take it as motivation. Yeah, cool. Or to push you to get better and all that. That is awesome. But I'm not doing it to flex. I'm not doing it because at the end of the day, y'all are not my competition. Because my only competition is myself. There is nobody else's competition. It's like what David Goggins said, man. Y'all gonna hear me say a lot from him. That dude's a beast. But he was like, no, you do the hunting. Nobody else gonna do the hunting. You do the hunting. You make sure that face, that's like I said, that's doing the hunting, is you. You feel me? Because that's who you see in the mirror every single day. That's who you're with 365 days. Like you're with yourself 24/7, 7 days a week. Like I said, and that goes into one of my other videos where I was like, you have to be able to be alone. You know, you're not lonely. Only average people call it lonely. Only people that can't stand themselves will call you lonely. Like I said, they can call you whatever the heck they want to call you, but they're not winning like you're gonna be winning. They're not winning like you're winning because they're too busy trying to be with everybody else. They're too busy, taking life like life is a joke. That's nothing that's wrong with this, with people, all these memes and all this stuff. Like, y'all can't take stuff seriously. And you got people that's like, oh, you need to live a little, live. It's average people, man. Balance, isn't it? That's average people. Money can't buy you happiness. That's average people. Average people say that stuff. That's the stuff that we automatically get programmed in our brain because that's what average people say. It's like, the older you get, the wiser you get. That whole, when people say like, would you rather have $5 million or would you have a dinner with like Jay-Z, or like other billionaires and stuff. People will be like, oh, $5 million. That's not. Yeah, nah. I would rather go and talk to Jay-Z because you can learn some things. You can make way more than that. But that's not the point. You can learn. And that's the thing that's what's wrong with most people is they don't want to learn. They just want the reward. They just want to skip everything, get a shortcut around stuff, ChatGPT, all this stuff. Like, nah, man. You need to work, man. You need to grind. You got to sometimes get down and ugly with yourself. And like I said, pull that mess out of you. Use that why. Come up with that why. If you don't have a why, make a why. Come up with one. Whys can change. Whys can definitely change, especially if it is something that is material. If you do make a why, like, oh, I want to get this house, something. And you get the house, and then, okay, now you have to change. You can't just be like, oh, because then now you're going to be stagnant because you got your house. You got the reward. That's why I would just tell people it's good to start off with something that is, far off, like that's going to keep you occupied, keep you working, keep you pushing towards it, because at the end of the day, that's what lasts longer, and you have to, like I said, that why has to mean everything to you, man. You have to be obsessed with it, Like I said, average people tell you that. Oh, obsession, you're weird, you're crazy. They say that because they're not obsessed, because they're, there's a hobby, it's a, whatever, they're lazy, they're not doing nothing. But when you're obsessed with something, you make sure it happens. You work every day, and you'll be so mad if somebody try to take that mess from you, because you work so hard for it. It takes that. It's necessary, man. It's very necessary. And only, like I said, only you can do it. Being by yourself, you can accomplish a lot of things. Even, like I said, having a small circle. 'Cause I have a really freaking small circle of friends. I probably count on my hand, like true friends, And even some of them are like, Because at the end of the day, it's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing. What I'm going after, my vision. They're too busy trying to argue or, trying to, just be negative, because, and I can't get mad at them. Because that's how they were raised. I mean, shoot, that's how I was raised. But it's like when somebody's teaching you something that's different, try to learn, look, get your research, get your facts. And me, I'm all about facts and results. So when I'm coming at you with some hard-hitting stuff, it's legit. That's why I have a time when people, I don't argue. I'm just like, whatever, Like I had one of my buddies, I was telling him to invest and stuff. And he was saying that like he needs to he's like saving his money up and all that stuff, which is cool. But I know deep down, I know him as that's my buddy. That's, like I said, ride or die. That's bullcrap, man. Because he's probably spending his money on other stuff, And then the stuff that I'm talking about is cheap. This is money that's going to build something for you, rather than you just buying something and it's gone. Temporary happiness. It's like, nah, freak that. You have to look beyond that and get out of that average mindset. You have to get things to work for you rather than, like I said, you working for it. Because at the end of the day, I want everybody to be able. Obviously, I know it's not gonna work like that. But it'd be nice. Everybody was wealthy. If everybody had money, if everybody was debt free, everybody could, live their life how they want. Like I said, be with their family. Like I said, be with their friends. Be with their loved ones. But be able to actually live their life how they want to, control their own time, and like I said, and be great at what they want to do, you know, because some stuff, yes, some stuff does cost a lot of money to keep up and actually do, you know, but what are you going to do to make sure that happens? Because just sitting around and bull crapping and being comfortable, it's not going to get the job done. Most of y'all fear of failing something that you haven't even started and you don't realize it, but you're already failing. So the only way to not fail is to keep trying. Trying is not failing, because you're trying. Because one of them next tries, you're going to succeed. You're going to succeed, and then that's when you move that goal up higher, and then try again to get higher. You might fail again. You know, failing something is going to be something that's going to always happen. It happens every day. You know, everybody's going to go through failure at least once or twice through their lives. But it's up to you on that decisions that you make when that does happen. Are you going to stop, or are you going to keep going? And that why should make you keep going. That why should answer all your questions. That why should make something that's not even, like, you don't even question yourself. It's just automatically, oh yeah, you know. That's why I tell people your why has to be big, man. It has to be big, it has to be great. It has to be something that's bigger than yourself, you know, bigger than everybody in your family. Like, it has to be something big, man. It has to be something big. And at the end of the day, never stay satisfied. And I'll see you on the next video.